Alpha 402 dropped with the new supplier die event. But is it any good? I have to admit, I was surprised. First order of business, of course, is to jump out of bed and find out if they fixed these elevators or not. And it looks like, no. Oh, yes. It's a new patch, so of course you're going to spawn back at home and you're going to spend the first 5 minutes running around buying more ammo and med supplies and all the other consumables that you don't need to spend 20 or 30 or 50k on. But enjoy that. And then you spend the rest of the time trying to get back to your ship. Of course, then you get back to your hangar and you spend the next 50 minutes sorting through this unsearchable pile of armor trying to find something that matches. And once you get that done, you fire this bad boy up and bust out onto the mean streets of Stanton. Now, a lot of players know, but some players don't know, that if you don't store the ships you purchased in-game when a new patch drops, you'll probably lose them. And along with that, if you don't store the ships that you did purchase, you're probably going to lose the components, and that's what happened to me, so that means I had to go out and buy a new quantum drive. First order of business, if you're going to be a pyro, you're going to need a more efficient drive. So, there we go, money out the window. Now let's get to pyro. Alright, so there we go, we made it to pyro. Let's land the ship in a safe spot so we can get through this mission list and find out if there's anything that's... holy crap. Am I reading this right? These missions pay out in the millions? Holy shit, look at that, 26 mil. To do what? Drop off 10 and pressurized ice. If this is for real, it looks like after the last patch cycle that was such a nightmare, CIG is actually going to make it up to us. This is amazing. So I want to test this out and find out just how doable these missions actually are. So I took one of the small missions and dropped off some tin and pressurized ice. And great news, I know where they sell it, the Magnus Gateway. So, back to Stanton. So I get to Stanton, pull out my map, type in Magnus, select the Magnus Gateway checkpoint, and then punch it. While it's being punched, I decide to go downstairs and walk my dog. When I get back, boom, there I am at the gateway, which looks different, which I thought was odd, but no big deal, I'll go inside. When I get inside, I can't help but notice that it's all rearranged, but maybe they changed the gateway. But then I realized this is not the Magnus Gateway. This is somewhere else entirely. And I know I typed in Magnus Gateway and selected that checkpoint, and it took me to a completely different station. No big deal. I'll just make another jump. Alright, here we go, Magnus Gateway. I'm going to jump inside, I'm going to get these resources, we're going to go back, we're going to make some quick, good cash. This is going to be awesome. Okay, here we go. Here we go. Oh my god. Look at this crowd. God, these guys are all waiting, they're all waiting in line. They're all just sitting here, waiting for the terminal. Alright, well, I want that free cheese, so I guess I'm going to wait too. After some fuckery with people fighting for terminal space, I managed to get my hands on one. And it's empty, there's nothing here. So I sat and waited for a while, and I can continue to do that. So we got 5 guys sitting here right now, all of whom are all waiting to snatch up the resources the instant they become available. Now, I assume, like it used to, these terminals update live, so you can do that. If you're quick enough, you can click through it, but you're racing 4 other guys, right? So I could sit here for 2 hours doing this, but instead I logged out because I remembered it's 7 a.m. in Hong Kong. Oh man, this is gonna be so great. God, I'm such a genius. Here we go. Oh crap. This is how this event's gonna go, huh? Since I can't take advantage of time zones, I figured I'd get back on a US server, but by this point, I was in a really long line to get onto the server. This event is taking off, baby. So I saw some of the other missions which had huge payouts were resupply missions for salvage, which means RMC construction materials. And I thought, well, hey, does that mean that actually buying these really overpriced materials is financially viable now? I'm gonna go find out, and I know a place that sells it. Let's go. One more quantum jump. Okay, here we go. Question answered. There's usually a good supply of this outpost, but it's pretty low right now, which means that somebody was here recently and they cleaned this out. If you get lucky, you can resupply here, but chances are you can't. So, I guess the only thing to do is collect the resources, right? The next question I have about whether or not these events are going to work out is what's happening at the drop-off points. And I saw that Checkmate was one of the drop-off points, but man, I bet there's a huge space battle going on around Checkmate right now. Let's go find out. Back to Pyro. Empty. The space around the stations is empty. You can just fly in here. This is unexpected. So that's it. It looks as though there's a legitimate gold rush going on in Star Citizen right now. If I want to take advantage of this event, I'm going to have to change ships, which means going back to Area 18, but I'm sick of Quantum, so I'm going to take the Backspace Express. From what I've gathered so far, yes, you can buy the materials and sell them, but the kiosk space is limited, and the stations that sell these materials, they're very, very limited. So it looks like if you own a mining or a salvage ship, now is your time to shine and you can really clean up. Outside of drug running, if that's the way this is going to go, then I guess it's time to get serious. The payout on that was 3 mil, which for a solo player is pretty decent for the session I had. So it looks like this event is for real. What's the status of the game like? Well, this was a 6-hour session. In that time, even though I spent most of my time in space, I had no problems whatsoever. Unbelievably, it looks as though CIG actually released a patch that puts the game in a better state than the previous one. Even though things are in better state, it hasn't all been sunshine and blowjobs. On my very next PlayStation, I had a full stop client crash and I lost a full reclaimer. I'm talking the entire floor stacked up to the balcony kind of full. But them's the perils of playing an early access game. So what's the conclusion on supply or die? The game's in a better state, and right now the getting is very good. So while it is, get out there and get it. If you like this video, give it a like. If you didn't like this video, fuck you, show me a better edit. Be sure and tell me how stupid I am in the comments. And I also like to point out, I'm not a real doctor.